All right, let's bring in our panel right now. Joining us here in studio this week, we have former state party chair for the Indiana Democrats, Robin Winston, former vice chair for the Indiana Trump campaign in 2016, Tony Samuel, and two former state lawmakers, Democrat Terry Austin and Republican Mike Murphy. Mike, I'll start with you. A lot of talk this week about the impact that these federal funding cuts might have on the state budget. How do you see that playing out?
Well, it's probably the craziest budget year in 30 years, probably since Evan Bayh was governor. You have a new governor who's trying to learn the ropes, right? And every governor makes mistakes. All governors do when they first come in. You've got two strong legislative leaders who each have their own version of the budget. And then you have we have the Medicaid screw up, which nobody's ever bothered to find out how that happened, right? There's been no inquiry, no commission, nothing. And then you have, Donald Trump and all his federal cuts. It could affect NDOT, Medicaid. It could affect NIH research grants for IU and Purdue and any other universities who use them. It could have significant impacts.
Terry, how do you see this from across the aisle? Some of your former colleagues in the House really raising some alarm bells about this past week.
Well, it's similar to what happened actually a few years ago. So you're waiting for the forecast to come in, and that's not going to come in until about mid-April. And everything hinges on the forecast. But then you also have the uncertainty of the dollars that we rely upon from the federal government to help support things like Medicaid, special education, and the Department of Education. If all these things go away, the state is going to be in a serious situation. And this is just not a budget that helps working families and Hoosiers, quite honestly.
Tony, what degree do you think this might ultimately impact the state budget? And what about Governor Braun's property tax plan? He still wants the House to do more with that than the Senate did, but local governments say they're concerned about their budgets too.
Yeah, and again, it's about tightening belts, local government, maybe the state budget as well, because of what comes down the road from the feds. But Governor Braun this week, who threatened to veto essentially if some of his broader property tax reforms were not put back in the budget. Looks like the House, the House did that, but or will do that, I think, and we'll see, what happens at the end with the negotiations. But remember, he wants broad property tax relief. The Senate, they minimized what he wanted to do and gave it, just targeted relief to some. He wants broader, so he's doing the right thing by putting it out there that he will veto and make them come back, because this is for the all Hoosier homeowners.
We'll see what happens. I mean, certainly lawmakers with just a simple majority can override a veto as well. Robin, what's your response to all of that? How do you see this playing out?
Well, $400 million of cuts to schools. That is devastating. Cities trying to figure out how they're going to keep police and firefighters on the job. That's devastating. And remember when we talked about this right after Donald Trump got elected, we said we thought the federal government would impact state government's budget? I mean, you're talking about projects in Lafayette with a chip manufacturer there that are in danger. The EV charging program announced $100 million that was coming to Indiana, now is not for sure. So I think it's put everything in limbo. And remember, this is Republican supermajority dealing with Republican supermajority and a Republican governor, and they can't come to terms at this point on a budget.
Mike, speaking of the federal government and the Trump administration, we mentioned off the top his comments this week, the president's comments on Ukraine, claiming they were the ones who started the war. Former Vice President Pence speaking out against those remarks from his former boss. What were your thoughts on the former VP weighing in here as he did?
Well, first of all, Vice President Vance refused to meet with the German Chancellor, one of our two greatest allies in the world. Instead, he met with the leader of the neo-Nazi party in Germany, AfD, okay? You had Trump calling one of our allies, Zelensky, a dictator. In his words, he's never used the words about Putin. I think that Vance and Trump should be forced to register as foreign agents.
Wow. Terry, we are 1 month now into this new Trump administration. There were protesters at the Indiana State House Monday and elsewhere across the country. What are some of your thoughts this week on these first 30 days for the new president?
It's been chaotic. He's starting to get pushback from the public, I believe, and I don't mean just Democrats. I was listening to some news reports from average voters who said, why has it been so one, like I said, chaotic and just haphazard. But also the other thing is the things that they're doing at this point are not going to be easily repairable. It's going to have some long-lasting consequences.
Okay. Tony, you've got a different view on all this. What are your thoughts here on these first 30 days for the new administration?
He's doing incredible things at a rapid pace, getting a lot done. He's getting his people that he wants in the positions in his cabinet confirmed and sworn in, and they're looking for corruption. They're looking to save the taxpayer a lot of dollars. They're already finding a lot of it with DOGE and in every agency that DOGE is working with. As far as the Ukraine war, President Trump wants to bring peace and stop the fighting, a war that wouldn't have happened if he was president back when it did start. And he has made retired Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg his special envoy. Keith Kellogg, General Kellogg, was Mike Pence's national security advisor, and they've got a plan, and that plan we need to give that time to work out. And Kellogg's there in Ukraine with talks with Zelensky right now.
Robin, your response to all that from across the aisle?
Well, it is incredible. I mean, you're getting rid of the Department of Education. Fundamental. Title I money that benefits kids all across. I don't care if you're in Westview or if you're in Hamilton County, it benefits kids. You're going to get rid of that program that benefits kids across. Veterans funds being held up. And then how about this little trick bag? A few months ago, we're going to stop all the funding. Then we announced the next day, no, we're not going to stop all the funding. So it has been incredible. How the price of eggs coming along for you by the day? And how about that mortgage payment? Those are the things that we have to be concerned about.
All right, a lot to talk about, no doubt, this week. And in this first month of the new Trump administration, our panel is going to be back coming up in just a few minutes with this week's winners and losers. But up next, the state representative is trying to end TV blackouts of the Indy 500. We'll hear from him and what Speedway officials are saying next.